Welcome to LegalEase on Me, where we make the complex legal stuff simple and easy to understand. I'm your host, Melia, and today we're doing something a little bit different. I know you always see me talking, but we have Danielle Wilson in the studio. Entrepreneur, small business owner extraordinaire. Danielle has been in business for 13 years. She is the proud owner of Sweeties Glam Closet.
Yes.
And the best in Broward Salon and Beauty Supply.
Yes.
And she is my personal makeup artist. So I won't put this makeup on her because she did not do this. Let me give that disclaimer. I did this myself. So if you don't like it, don't blame Danielle. But she gets me right all the time. I love her energy. I love her spirit. And most of all, I love her talent. But I love her business mind. So I had to have her come in and talk to me a little bit about her journey. So Danielle, my first question for you is, how has your journey been? 13 years later, looking back, first of all, tell us about it. How's it been?
It's been a journey. It has been a journey. A lot of ups, a lot of downs, and finally finding my way to balance. And that's been the biggest thing, having to learn balance because I didn't know it. And coming from working for the county. I worked for the county for 10 years and I worked with kids. And one day they just decided, here, slide as you fold to apply for, unemployment. And I had just had my last daughter. She was 6 months old. I actually had just enrolled into school for makeup. And that was just me doing something on the side. So, and I remember saying a prayer because I was helping, I work with detention center kids, child net, foster kids from single parent homes. So I was giving a lot of time to other kids. And I noticed that my kids were kind of falling behind. Like I'm not getting home till super late. And I'm like, God, I'm helping everybody else's kids and my kids falling behind. I'm like, I got to figure something out. And I was wanting to further myself. So I was actually going to go to school for hair and it wasn't available. The cosmetology course wasn't available. So I went for clinical skincare. And I had been in that for a good maybe 2 months. Yeah. And then got to work and it was that. And I was just like, okay, what's next? What am I going to do? I have 3 kids now. My youngest was 5 months.
So you had been working for the county for 10 years, went to cosmetology school before they told you to apply for unemployment, basically let you go. First of all, let me just say this. You don't even look old enough to have done all of this already. So kudos to you. You look great.
Thank you.
But I love the way you had you were being prepared without knowing you were being prepared for what was coming. And entrepreneurship really served as a bridge between what could have been a real calamity and a real sad downturn in your career. And now look where you are. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I went through the whole process, went through clinical skincare, went right into cosmetology. And I remember this one guy that came in and he just said, listen, anything you do for free is what you need to be doing for a living. And I was already doing it, but I was helping kids because I would see the kids come in and, the clothes, unfortunate. So I would just, keep them together, stuff like that, doing it out of my pockets. Had nothing to do with work. And I said, you know what? If this is what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm going to have to do this full time. I'm not stepping foot in another person's job. I'm just not doing it. And from that, I lost everything. All my accounts. They didn't even want to give me unemployment anymore. I lost my place. It went down spiral first. And then I just said, you know what? I'm gonna finish school. I finished school on a Friday. I jumped right into a salon on a Saturday.
Wow.
And yeah. So from there, just like I said, from shop to shop, working in with other stylists, and then it was times where I was giving service away for free just to get my name out there. Every day I was getting up, just marketing and putting my name out there, going and walking through the neighborhoods, going to gas stations. I just needed my name to be out there. I needed the clientele because I went in booth rental and not commission. I didn't see myself paying somebody for me to be. And it was just listen, my goal was to have my own salon. And I was like, you know what? My girls are depending on me. And they've been through a lot. I just thank God that they've been patient kids. And I got to a point, I got tired of being in salons and me having more clientele. My clientele got to the point where I had more clientele than the shop.
Okay.
So the shop owners would have like, an issue. And I would be passing clients like, well, hey, you do this for me, and then I would see where it's like, oh, why are you helping her? She's not the owner. And I heard it so much till it's like, it's time for me to become an owner.
Okay, now let me address something you said.
Mm-hmm.
You said you gave away services for free in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It was an investment in where you knew you wanted to be, which was to grow your clientele with the goal of owning your own salon. And, I see a lot of people giving advice to, new entrepreneurs starting out, and I don't necessarily disagree with it in terms of knowing your worth, knowing your value. And I think I give that same advice too. But I also believe, like you, that in the beginning, sometimes it's like a seed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You have to plant, where you plant a seed, a tree will grow.
Yes, it will.
Right? And so that's what you did.
Yeah.
You planted the seeds, both in your time and in your talent and offering up to demonstrate, this is what I can do.
Yeah.
And then that became the magnet that helped grow your clientele.
Yeah. And I can honestly say 13 years later, I see it. Like I look at so many, it's times where I had clients getting ready to get married. Wow. And they were on a budget and let me do you for your wedding. I'll just charge you for your hair. I'll do hair and makeup. I'm gonna do your whole team.
Wow.
And it was a lot of times like I had people tell me, that's stupid. Why would you do that? And it's like, listen, I believe in myself more than I believe in anybody else. This is something that I feel I need and I have to do. I might be biting the bullet now. Yeah, it might have been times where like I didn't have the money to pay rent or pay other things, but I'm not mad that I did it. I don't regret not one part of it. I don't regret anyone that I ever gave a free service to. I do not regret it. Even down to I've had clients don't have a job.
Yeah.
And they have interviews. Come, let me fix you. And at the same time, I'm speaking to them.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm saying, well, hey, just go ahead. And it's like, no, I don't think I'm going to get it. Listen, one thing I always feel, and the reason I love this industry, if you look better, you feel better.
Look good, feel good, play good.
Yeah, like when you're down or you're in that space where like you don't have yourself together on the outward side, the inner side is not going to pump up.
Right.
I don't care how much talking you're doing. Because you're doing this talking, but you can't visually see how you're like, you don't see your next step because you don't look like it.
Yeah, no, that's powerful. And I will say this, there is still a wisdom in how you sow that seed, even in the beginning. And so because this is LegalEase on me, I'm going to interject a legal tip here.
Right.
If you are just starting out and you need to demonstrate your skill set, right? The value that you bring to your customer base to grow it. And so you want to give services away, sometimes for free, to be able to do that. One thing that you can do is ask them for permission to use pictures and things like that for your marketing. And have them sign a simple one-page agreement, consent, that allows you then to take pictures and videos and post it to your social channels, to your website for marketing. And then it's a barter. Yeah. So you're getting something that you can then use for your marketing and they're getting the free service. Yeah. But I would say get that in writing, because what you don't want to happen is that those pictures are out there for a period of time and maybe you've come up, they've come up, and they might not even be in a relationship with you anymore. And they don't want you to use those pictures for marketing and you have to take those down. So just be wise. And if you can, get them to sign, give consent for you to be able to use those for commercial purposes, and you're all set. But I completely agree with Danielle. Don't be afraid to give a little to get a little.
Listen, and when I say, I can honestly say that was one of my downfalls. It was times where I did a whole photo shoot. Like I was just big into like putting forth everything I'm capable of doing. That's always my biggest thing. And I would do something and a person would say, oh, I don't like my pictures, don't use them. Excuse me? What do you mean don't use them?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I don't like the way I look. What do you mean? I just spent all my money. And that's something I wish I knew to use contracts back then.
Okay.
I wish that's one thing I can. Now, no, we need to sign off on something.
You have to have it in writing.
Mm-hmm.
So even at the beginning, when you're just getting started out, tip, get basic agreements, nothing complicated, doesn't have to be super lengthy, but something to protect you that reserves the right for you to be able to use your work for commercial purposes, especially if you're giving your services away, which you might need to establish yourself in the particular market or industry that you're in. Now, Danielle.
Yes.
Tell me, so now you're 13 years in. You said you lost everything. You've been able, thank God, to build your business back up. I know that you own 2 successful businesses right now. So I like to call it the messy middle. So there was the hardness of getting started. There's the great place that you're in now. Tell me a little bit more about that messy middle. So what was that like for you?
The messy middle. The messy middle, I would say, that's that phase where you're still trying to find and plant yourself and find like where you want to go. So I have this one situation situation where I had my first salon. It was a little bit smaller. It was more intimate setting, and that's something I'm more into. And I one day get a phone call. Someone referred someone to me, and the person had a business, and he was looking for someone to come in and take over. Now, he had everything that I needed, from promotional vehicle, inventory, 5-star salon, like nice staff, everything. And it was said to me, just come and bring your clientele. Mind you, I had a decent clientele, and it's just from word of mouth. So I do that, bring my clientele over, and everything is cool. Within I'll say 3 months, I knew I pulled in, and I ain't gonna say I knew I pulled in 30 bands.
Wow.
With what was given to me and my clientele, and then just who I know I pulled in $30,000 for them.
Explain that to the people, please.
So come in. A lot of the staff didn't really have clientele, so I would overbook myself. So if I knew this person did haircuts, I'm getting them to bring their kids. Oh no, bring your sons to come get their haircuts by this person. Oh, bring your daughter to come get their hair braided by this person. Oh, you come get. If I knew a person needed it, if they call me, you come in. If you call within that time. So it was booming, and it was back to back. I had them out paving. I was broke. I was broke.
So you didn't work out an arrangement to get a percentage of the business that you were bringing in on top of your personal clients.
Right. I got a percentage. It just wasn't the right percentage.
The right percentage.
And then the thing was, I went from my own money going into my account to me getting a paycheck.
You became an employee, essentially.
Dumbest move ever. I'm glad it happened because I did. I learned the biggest lesson. And it was that I felt like I handed over my gift. I felt like I said, here, you can pimp my gift.
You don't lose, you learn.
Yeah.
You don't lose, you learn. Now, why do you think that happened? Was that a function of overzealousness and being sort of seduced by the opportunity, so excited to have it, by all of the promises that you just...
The look. Because on the outside, it looked really, 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 really nice. But then when you got in there and I started noticing like, the holes, the little, holes that should have been filled in, and it wasn't. So it was like, it was one of the situations where I was like, I'm going to get you over here on these pretenses. And those showers where like, it's real ugly. Yeah. And they come in and they just shove another shower on top of it, but it's still dirt. It was like that.
Okay.
Like it was a lot of mess going on. And me trying to be superwoman, and going over there, and I met some great people. But yeah. No.
So I'm going to insert another tip. When you are presented with a fantastic, phenomenal business idea, and everything in you wants to jump on it because it sounds too good to be true. Like my mom always said, if it sounds too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. And this is when it's good to consult with a business advisor, and your accountant, your lawyer, somebody who can be objective, that can stand back outside of the arrangement and look in. They don't have a dog in the fight other than making sure they're giving you the best advice and advise you on the best course of action. Now, as entrepreneurs, especially if you're newer to entrepreneurship, being a business owner, and if you don't have a lot of money, like if I'm just saying it, speaking plain, sometimes everybody don't have access to a lawyer or an attorney or a CPA, but you have somebody that you can ask, what does this sound like to you? And let me just say this. A lot of times we assume we don't have access to a lawyer or to an accountant. But people like me, and I know a lot of people like me, that take calls pro bono. In fact, in the state of Florida, we have a pro bono requirement. There are a certain amount of hours that attorneys in the state of Florida have to have pro bono hours. And so I'm looking. No, y'all don't start calling me. Like she said, she said she has to have all.
That ain't what she said.
That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, those sort of situations, there are people who would be willing to take a quick listen to what you're going through and give you, listen, these are my thoughts. And this is why networking is important. Because when you network with people, like when you join networking groups or even less formally than, a formal networking group, and when you just have outreaches where you're getting outside of your office, getting outside of your business, and you're meeting people, you're meeting lawyers, you're meeting accountants, you're meeting business advisors, you're meeting folks, then those are the people that you're building relationships with. So it's not transactional. You're not just calling them when you need something, but you're meeting them and you can call them and say, hey, so-and-so, this deal just came across my desk and I really like it. It sounds like a phenomenal opportunity for me, but I know that you are an expert in this area. What do you think? Right? If you are the smartest one in your friend group, you are in trouble. You have to find a way to get connected with people that you can dial up to. And that's for everybody. CEOs have those people in their lives that they can call and bounce things off of. And so I feel like for you in that moment, that would have been great. For you just to have somebody, it would have been a 5-minute phone call. They probably could have pointed out 5 things that from a business perspective, you should have considered that might have just had you give that a second guess.
And I wish I had it. I wish I had it the beginning, the middle, even the end. Because I end up just walking away. Like I didn't even try to fight it anymore. I was tired and burnt out. And it was the backlash of, it was my fault that this is this. And I didn't say anything. I just let the finger be pointed. And it was like, okay, you know what? Whatever. And even after that, I took a year off. I didn't step foot into another salon.
Wow.
And I wish I did have an upper. And that's one thing I can honestly say now. I'm coming out of my shell to find upper because it's when you get to a point, especially in this business, when you get to a point where you hit that wall, only other place is back down because you're going to continuously do the same thing, and it's insanity. It'll drive you crazy, and you'll just be putting your money into the same thing and the same thing, a hamster wheel, and then you're not going anywhere.
That's right. So when you talk about, because it sounds like there's probably a few hard lessons you had to learn. Again, you don't lose, you learn along your 13-year journey. And some of them sound like they may have been a little expensive. So looking back, hindsight being 2020, you talked about some of the things you would have done differently, but in terms of where you would have invested some of that money you lost, systems, a lawyer, an accountant, where as a businesswoman, would you have invested that money earlier?
I definitely would have business insurance, marketing, a lawyer, and an accountant, a financial advisor. I definitely would have.
And what difference do you think it would have made on some of the outcomes of those situations?
I wouldn't have been in them. I know I wouldn't. I wouldn't have
Straight
been
like that.
Yeah,
Simple.
I wouldn't have been in. Yeah, I wouldn't
Plain
have
and
been
simple.
in them.
That's it.
It was. I wouldn't to have someone that I know knows more than me and has my best interest at heart. That's one thing. I'll go and learn. I'll go and listen. I'll go and search. But to physically have someone there to say, "Hey, don't do that."
Yeah.
To physically have someone to tell me, "Don't do that." Right. Sometimes you need an actual sound voice because you can even see it on YouTube or another outlet, and it's just like, they don't know what to talk about.
Exactly.
But to have somebody physically sit down and say, "Listen, you're going to have this loss. This is what you're looking at, and it's in your face." I wouldn't have did it.
Right.
I wouldn't have did it.
And even, sort of proactively. So that's on the hindsight being 20/20, knowing, all that you lost and how you could maybe course correct in those areas. But, even think about the positive opportunities that you could have had, like grants, helping you, fill out grant applications, helping you, make sure that the legal foundation, the financial foundation was set so that your books and records were accurate so that you can qualify for loans and things like that.
Because the thing is, it's easy. And that's one thing, like a lot of people say, "Oh, you just do hair." But I'm going to tell you something about doing hair, the beauty industry. It's $1 billion industry.
That's right.
You can live better than a doctor.
Yeah.
You really can. And depending on how you're booking yourself, how you're putting yourself out there, how you're getting like your demographics, how you're choosing to, even if you're choosing to do collaborations, brand collaborations, a lot of this stuff, like it really makes a difference. Like, and I'll say this with had I had the better advising, I definitely would have went more into branding earlier.
Yes.
Like product branding. And that's the thing is, I had access to that stuff way before it is now. So to be in this now, and I had it maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I would have been so much further. Yeah. I would have invested in that stuff opposed to me steady investing in the hamster wheel.
The hamster wheel. During COVID, the statistics say that 35% of Black-owned small businesses did not survive COVID. And that was largely because of the inability to take advantage, to adjust financially and take advantage of some of the government subsidies that were available, whether that be PPP or some of the other things. One, because like I said, that legal financial foundation wasn't set properly that would allow them to qualify. Some of the ones that did qualify, we're seeing now are on their way to jail because they really didn't qualify. They were making up stuff. But it's sad that a pandemic, a real situation, a global situation, really broke the back of so many minority-owned small businesses. So now we're out of COVID. It's an opportunity. We know that there's a financial crisis coming. We should all be preparing for. What advice would you give to a small business owner that to help them be thinking about what they should be focusing on to prepare for another situation like that?
Plan. You've already been through one. Plan. Have an plan. And I feel that's something that we strive, and I always say this in our field, we strive for cosmetic. And when I say that, the outer for our clients, and then cosmetic for business, what we look like.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, I said, listen, I've known so many of my peers and others open a salon and they're worried about the cosmetic. You don't have a demographic plan. You don't have a plan. There's a slow season in this business. And people all say, it ain't a slow season. Okay. Trust me. I've been through 13 of them.
Okay.
Oh, there's a slow season.
Right.
And if you don't plan for those seasons, if you don't, even just down to your looking at your clientele and knowing who fits into what.
Okay.
You have to have a diverse clientele.
Your client persona.
So, yeah.
That's right.
So you don't have to do everything, but what you do need to be tailored.
Okay.
So, like we have a thing called chair hoppers, where they only come if you throw a sale. I stop. I stop. And if I do, I use it as client appreciation. Mm-hmm. So if you come during client appreciation, understanding client retention, understanding keeping the client, understanding reaching out. Sometimes you have to go the extra mile for a client, and you have to do that for the ones that are loyal. Yeah. So that you keep them. And at one point, I had a bunch of chair hoppers where no one was really solid. It's just like I didn't know what I would be bringing in. I didn't know. And when I realized, I'm like, hey, wait, this is not it. I'm doing something wrong. And I said, you know what? I need to have a set amount of, and I went after business women. I went after established women that had to look, their appearance had to be a certain way. Mm-hmm. So I went from me needing you to you needing me. Okay. And because you need me, I'm going to cater to you because you need me. Yeah. I'm going to give you that. So if it's the last minute, hey, could you come? Listen, I don't know how to do this. Where are you? And some people say, oh, well, you can't do that for everybody. No, I can't do that for everybody. But that established group where you can't go to your job with a stocking cap on your head. That's it. You can't go to work with a bonnet. You cannot go to work. Yeah. You can't. Yeah. So planning, not only for, a pandemic or some other similar situation, but just generally, and that's business planning, right? And I am not, a person that says, don't start a business without having a fully baked business plan, because I feel like if you say that, then nobody would start. I mean, that's just the reality of it. A business plan is a living document. It's always going to be changing. It's always going to be growing. At least have a 3-year. Exactly. Starting out. You should have you need to be developing it. Yeah. You need to be modifying it. I think what you said is beautiful, in that you identify gaps in terms of what wasn't working. Yeah. You looked at the numbers, I don't like this. I don't like what I'm seeing. This ain't it. You've seen what was wrong in the type of customers and clients that you were getting, and you identified the client persona that you wanted and why, and how that was going to change the overall culture of your practice, of your business. Yes. And then made those adjustments. I'll go a step further, because this is LegalEase on me, to say doing that pivot in partnership with your core team. Every business should have a core team. Your core team has to be your accountant, your lawyer, obviously you. And then if you have a team of people, if you have employees, then someone that's helping you manage all of the sort of compliance issues with your employees. And if you have contractors, making sure that the contractor stuff is together. But you need to be meeting with those people when you make those pivots to understand, what are my tax implications, right? Because if you're not paying taxes, listen, I'm hurt some feelings, and I don't mean to do this, but I have, because this is a legal podcast. I have to say it like it is, because you're coming here because you want to learn something. You want to do something different. Yeah. If you are not paying taxes and you owe them, then you don't have a legitimate business. You just don't. If you are not recognized, if you don't have an EIN, and you are not recognized by the IRS and the federal government, then you don't have a legitimate business. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how great your business idea is. You're just not a legitimate business. Hard to hear. You're not even doing it for your health.
No,
you're not even doing it for your health.
Absolutely not. And it's sad, because some people have been running businesses out of their trunk for years, and they make good money. Yeah. But because they have not legitimized their business, because they have not invested in the foundational elements of the business in terms of filing with the state, keeping their annual filings up to date, paying their taxes, then they don't even get the benefit of all of that hard work at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They can't apply for a loan. They can't apply for grants. They get no credit with respect to what's retirement?
Your 401k, your Roth IRAs.
And the one the government gives you when you
your Social Security.
Social Security, and all of that.
Yeah.
Like, you're not paying anything in. You get nothing out. And you are legitimately hurting yourself. Hurting yourself. And when you sit down with real business people, you just don't look credible. And when you want to upscale your customers, sophisticated customers are not going to do business with you.
No.
So unless you want to be, doing business out of your trunk for the rest of your life and have nothing to leave for your legacy, for your children, you've got to figure it out. And it's not even that hard. So sometimes it's just a mentality thing.
Yeah, it is. A lot of it has to do with, I'll say fear. A lot of people fear what they don't know. They fear even having to go ask someone for help because they don't want to look like they don't know.
Yeah.
Ask. Like, it'll save you. Just ask.
That's right.
At some point, just ask. Even if you have to take a break. And I'll say that if you have to take a break to figure it out, give yourself that much. Like, give yourself that chance. Because the thing is, it'll end up being bad business duplication. And then it's like you want to have a business and then you want to bring an employee on, you're going to suck them into the same thing.
Right.
Because it's not right.
So Danielle, as you get ready to wind down, I want you to tell me, we talked about sort of your journey and now you're here. How are you doing today?
So like we said, I have two businesses. I've had a lot of great opportunities. I now work with a lot of production companies now. So I'm merging myself over, just like I said, I seen it. Oh, wait, no chill hoppers ain't it. Now I'm really merging myself over into contractual jobs where I can work on set. I can travel. So I have a contract now that I'm just waiting on everything to come through, and I will be by.
Okay, she's gonna seek legal help.
Yes.
Okay, so we learn.
Yes.
We learn.
Definitely. Yeah. For that contract, I'm gonna need it. I've been afforded to showcase my work on many like performing platforms.
Yeah.
I have a few up and coming clients. Oh my God, I'm being so mild right now. I'm a part of different organizations that allow us to platform our work, put our work on platforms across the country. So,
and I'm just gonna say this because she's not gonna say, I ain't gonna say no names, don't worry. But she does studio makeup for some very, very, very big people that you all know very well, that you play their shows in your home probably every night.
Yes.
And I'm so proud of you for that.
You. Yes.
And how you've grown. But what you said is so key. You have diversified.
Yeah.
And that is so important.
Yep.
We cannot be one-trick ponies.
No. Oh, no. And a lot of people say, oh, you have to do one thing and stick with it. Listen, I'll say this way. Have one thing that you know how to add variation to.
Yeah.
And have different levels of it. And I can honestly say over the years, I have seen myself go and just go. So I may have said a lot of the losses that I had, but the only reason I point them out is because every time I took a loss, I came back with a blank I used it as a blank canvas to reinvent myself, to revamp myself, to change something. Because if you're afraid to change, if you're not going to give yourself the opportunity, don't start.
Okay.
If you're going to be afraid to step, and I tell anybody, and one thing I had to learn, don't come talk to me or don't tell me if you're not doing anything for yourself. I've had to learn. I know my plan. I know where I want to be. I don't allow anyone to come into my space and dictate what I'm going to do if I know I'm taking the proper measures. Now, if you're doing something and you're in a space to where like, okay, well, this is working for you. Yeah, I can take some advice from you. But letting just someone come in, and I'll say this, even right now, I'm in a salon by myself, right? Like I said, I like intimate settings. I service a lot of clients that have alopecia. I'm getting ready to service, merge over into the cranial prosthetics, which are medical wigs, so that I can work hand in hand with insurance companies and a cancer society. But you ain't just gonna come in and just tell me, oh, well, you need to have this, this, and this, and this. Listen, work ethic is everything to me.
Yeah.
Even if I let you come in and I let you just work maybe a week or two, and you choose to only come in 5 days, or it's, oh, I don't have no clients, I'm not going today. You're your brand. You have to work for yourself. And one thing about entrepreneurship, people are like, oh, I want to work for myself, so I don't have to work. Listen, nah.
You gotta work harder.
Every day.
Every day.
I have days like, I'm gonna just take a mental day. I'm at the shop. Do something that you would do for free. You would give it for free. You would do it with your eyes closed. If you heartbroken, you're gonna do it. If you're hurt, you're gonna do it. Like, no matter what, you're gonna do it. It can be a storm. You're gonna
show up.
And even with this last flood, I ended up having water in my salon.
Oh, I know you did.
Yeah. I was hurt.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's nature. It happens. It just showed me, you know what? Maybe I need to invest in some handbags. Maybe I need to amp up my business insurance. It's fine. But what I can say is my shop had a little water. I was still servicing.
Still showing up.
Yeah, I was. And that's it. As long as you show up for yourself, listen, I promise you it's going to work.
That's it.
Network. Don't be afraid to open your mouth. This will tell how far you get.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to be scared to say what you do, what you offer, what you're capable of, it'll pass you every time. Every opportunity, a pass. And I've had opportunities come to me because I gave somebody a free service years ago.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That many years ago, that seed is still yielding a harvest. Come on.
I have kids that I serviced them when they were little. They're adults now.
Wow.
And they come back and they say, oh, you know what, Miss Danielle can do this. Or they'll say, oh, I know if nobody else can do it, you can do it. And it's just to know that, like, wow, like for so long ago, I did this and it came back.
Wow, that's remarkable. I mean, you are absolutely exceptional. Thank you so much for sharing so intimately, because a lot of people only want to talk about the good. You know, we want to talk about the bag and how we got there, our nice cars, our big houses, everything is aesthetically pleasing, but nobody wants to talk about the hard parts.
Yeah.
And I feel like the hard parts of entrepreneurship, of learning and growing as a business owner, those stories are very helpful to people who are considering going out on their own, or who are already out on their own, who might be a little discouraged. But to hear somebody like you who has seen it all, who has grown through it, and who has not survived, but who is thriving in spite of not having gotten it right all the time. Yeah. You've made mistakes. You've fallen short. Yeah. And here you are, a success story. And I'm so glad you're going to be with us at the Beautiful Bosses Business Brunch.
I'm trying to make a group with
later this month. You're going to share your stories again. We're gathering here in Fort Lauderdale. If you are going to be in the area, May 21st from 2 to 6, we're going to get together. We're going to pack this place out in Fort Lauderdale. We're going to share stories like this. We're going to talk about our innovative business models, the things that we're doing, integrating AI, integrating processes and systems and technology to help us be better, because we have to share. We cannot, a closed mouth doesn't get fed.
No, baby.
So you have to ask for help. You got to be willing to be a help to somebody.
You have to be willing to receive.
Yeah.
Because somebody can be telling you something, but if you don't want to receive it, then it's not a help. It's not a help. And I'll say this. I'm a single mother of 3.
Yeah.
My kids were 7, 4, 1, 6 months, 5 months old. 7, 3, and 6 months old when I started. Wow. They're 19, 15, and 12.
So they grew with you.
They grew with me, and my business grew. Yes. So that's another one of my babies. And I'll say this. It has been a journey, but it's been to know that my girls have seen me fall and get up. That's one thing my kids say, Mom, you strong. Like, Mom, you just do it. Like, don't worry about like the falling. If you're gonna be afraid of failing, don't start.
Yeah. Because you will. If you're doing it right, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna fail.
You're gonna make mistakes, but the mistakes is what make you.
Yeah.
The mistakes, it may make you or break you, but as long as you know you tried for yourself, then listen, I promise you.
You can be proud.
Listen, connect with other business owners. Don't be afraid to go to a lot of the free seminars that they give out. Always have something motivational in your ear.
Yeah.
Give yourself that time to hear yourself. Ask yourself questions. Don't be afraid to fuss at yourself, because sometimes I get myself together. Why would you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Get yourself together, but I would say just do it. You won't be disappointed.
I love it.
You'll be more proud of yourself than anything.
I love it. Well, thank you, Danielle. And listen, she closed the show, so I really don't have anything else to say other than the Beautiful Bosses Business Brunch is not just for those that are local. Mm-hmm. It's one day. It's on a weekend. Get a plane ticket. Come to Fort Lauderdale. Join us here. If you need to be inspired, if you need to be encouraged, if you need to get some resources in your hand to take your business to the next level, come.
Yes.
It's on the website, www.moderncreatorslaw.com. It's on my Instagram, moderncreators.com. Modern Creators Law. Register at Eventbrite, Beautiful Bosses Business Brunch. We want to see you here. These are the kind of people that are going to be here. It's going to be impactful. It's going to be a game changer. Mm-hmm. This has been another episode of LegalEase on Me. Thank you for joining. We'll see you next time.
Yes, come and get fed. Google me, Best in Broward Salon and Beauty Supply. Sweeties Glam Closet. Have a good evening.
Talking all things legally, LegalEase on Me.